this is my podcast setup. It is a wreck. Let me get that cleaned up real quick with some editing magic. All right, now it's cleaned up. So here's a quick overview of the next 7 modules I'm gonna share. We're gonna talk about what mic you should be using. We're gonna settle the debate about headphones or no headphones. And what is the difference between XLR and USB microphones? We're gonna talk about what camera I'm using and why. I'll show you my teleprompter and how I use it in my podcast. I'll show you my super cheap lighting system that makes this all possible. I'll throw in a couple pointers about setting up your podcast background. And I'll share the software stack that ties all this together. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit subscribe so you can catch all 7 of these modules as they come out. When you're starting a podcast, you might be thinking about what's the best mic, and of course, that is a super important question. Let me answer to you what mic I'm using. This is the SM7B. Now, when it comes to microphone these days, how it looks is almost as important as how it sounds. What I would consider a handsome microphone, kind of like the one that Joe Rogan uses. Actually, it's the exact same model that he uses. He's kind of like the most famous podcaster in the world. And he kind of set a fashion trend where there's a certain look that you want, right? So pick a mic that looks good as well as works well. Now, here's the second thing you want to think about is a boom. Now, this is an arm that I have attached to this table so that it's always in the right position. What you don't want to do is have something in your hand all the time, because what happens is over time it kind of moves, it sags, and the sound quality keeps changing. So get a boom, whether it's going to be on the floor and booms out in front of you, or whether it's going to be clamped to a table or sitting on top of the table itself. Make sure you can get this as close as possible, because remember, in order to get great sound, you need to do the shaka hands. If your thumb can touch your lips and the mic at the same time, that means you're at the right distance. If it's like this, that is too far, and you're going to want to make sure to bring that in closer, and the boom allows you to bring it as close as you possibly can. Quick question, what do you think about the headphone look when people are doing podcasts? Now, I used these headphones when I first started, and these are really the best ones on the market. They're called Beyerdynamics DT770 Pro, and I picked this because on all the reviews, these are the ones that are the most comfortable. The sound is great, and they're super, super light, and they also wick sweat. So even if it's really hot, it's gonna be comfortable for a long time. But here's the thing. I started watching some of these videos, and I started feeling like Princess Amidala, you know, with the big curly thing going on. And when I started looking online, I realized that another thing that works really well is this. So these are wireless AirPods, and I've got these in, and you can see it on both sides, but from the front, it doesn't actually completely like surround my face, and it's actually more comfortable. And here's another reason I did this. I find that with the cable in front of me, I kept fidgeting with the cable. It was not fun to watch. It was fun to do, not fun to watch. So there's options. But here's what's important to remember. Whether it's gonna be headphones over your ears or earbuds that are wireless or wired, it doesn't matter. The thing you absolutely wanna avoid is use the built-in speakers in your laptop. That gives the worst sound experience for your listeners. USB or XLR microphone. It used to be that USB microphones were really an amateur kind of thing, and XLRs were considered professional. Things have really changed. Let me update you on what's going on today. So I'm gonna get up from my podcast studio into my regular work studio and show you, this is the mic I use every day for my work. So this is gonna be my meetings, this is gonna be some content creation, but not my podcast. And you can see here, this is a USB interface, and it also has XLR. But I use USB because I don't want to have to bring a mixer onto this table. It's just too much. So this is simple. You plug it in, you don't need any extra equipment. But when we come over here, we see this is an XLR setup. If you look over here, it's got those 3 prongs, that really old-fashioned look. This is still considered the professional standard. We gotta plug it in like this, and you're gonna need a machine like this to plug the mic into. So you're gonna be spending a few extra dollars, but you also get more flexibility in exactly how you want your sound to come across. If you want your voice to be really tuned with a machine like this, then go with XLR. Otherwise, if you want simple and cheap, go with USB. But real talk, guys, most people, including myself, are not gonna be able to tell if the voice was recorded with USB or XLR. It's really just a user preference, especially if it's for your home studio. When I started my podcast, I tried to get really fancy and have 2 cameras. One of them was moving on a slider and the other one was capturing my face. But lately I'm just using one because it's just too much work to manage all that. Let me walk you through how that works. So this is the view from when I'm sitting, and this is the camera. Well, actually the camera is right behind it. So this is the Sony a7S, the original, the very first one. This is from years ago. This is super, super old, but it still works and it does 4K and it does really great color. Now I've mounted a 50mm prime lens on this. So that means that the focus is locked. It does not have autofocus, and this is by design. The reason for this is because when I'm sitting down, then I want everything to be perfectly in focus. And sometimes when you have autofocus, it hunts, right? And then you see the lights in the background kind of flickering, things get blurry, things move, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be rock solid and I don't want it to move. So how do I make sure I'm always in focus? Well, when I was doing film, there's something called scene blocking, where you block and you know where everybody's gonna be at different parts of the scene. And you use tape to mark where people stand. So this here, you see my couch here, I've got this black tape here, I've got this black spot here, and I know that when the legs match up to those black spots and I sit on that chair, then that camera will be perfectly in focus and my face will be sharp every time. So this is the camera that everybody's been asking about. It runs on a slider, it's motorized, and when it's going, then it just slowly goes back and forth. I can program it to point different directions, to go at different speeds, to ramp up and ramp down. And it used to give me this angle where it's just moving back and forth, and then when we edit, it looks pretty cool. And then one day it dawned on me that people are more interested in good storytelling and good interviews than having cool camera angles like that. But remember, storytelling is king. I just bought a second teleprompter for my home studio, and let me show you why. So check this out. This is my point of view when I'm doing an interview. Now, usually the person is coming in remotely and their face is on here, but my camera is way over there in the corner. So I'm always having to just stare at that black dot there while we're having an interview. But watch what happens now, because now I could take Roselle and drag it way over there. And now I'll be looking straight into the camera at the same time I'm looking at Roselle's face. When it comes to podcasting, you want to be looking right at the camera or a little bit off to the side as if you're in an interview. What you don't want to be doing is looking almost at the camera, but just a little bit off like this, and that's super annoying. And that's one of the reasons why you need to get a teleprompter. Hey, if you want to have great lighting in your home podcast studio setup, then you need to learn the two-system rule. The two-system rule pretty much means that there's one set of lights that lights your face and the other set that lights your background. Let me walk you through that. For my system one to light up my face, on the right side, I've got this light inside the closet that lights up this side of my face, and then I keep my desk lights on over there, and that lights up this side of my face. For my system 2, I've got these Edison bulbs that give these books a nice warm glow. I've got this light strip that gives these curtains that nice blue glow. And above me is what's called a hair light that just lights my hair and my shoulders. Here's my methodology for designing podcast studio backgrounds. There's just two main things. Number one is one statement piece, and number two is keep things simple. Let me walk you through this. If you haven't figured it out yet, my statement piece is this chair. This chair is old-fashioned. It looks like it comes from 100 years ago. And I get so many people saying, that's an amazing chair. Where'd you get it? Now, is the podcast about the chair? Absolutely not. But does it make it just a little bit more memorable and unique? Yes. Now here's number 2. So principle number 2 is keep it simple, especially the area right behind my head. I want to keep it as plain as possible without any kind of signs or books or plants or pictures or anything like that, because then the silhouette of your head stands out more and you're more memorable. Here's the very best software I found to record interview podcasts in your home studio, and it's the exact software I'm using to record this right now. Let's walk through it. So the software I'm using here is called Riverside, and you can see my camera right there and the person I'm speaking to. But check this out. Watch what happens when I click and drag this to the left off the screen. Then we get a full screen interview format right here. So I get to look right at the person I'm interviewing. So I'm looking right at myself as I do this, or I could be looking at the person I'm speaking with, but also I've got one secret weapon up in the corner of the screen. Let's zoom in on that. So in the GoPro, you can see up here in the top right corner is an analog clock. That is there and it overlays everything so I could maintain eye contact with the person I'm speaking to, but also keep close track of exactly how much time we have left. I hope you found one valuable tip you can use in your home studio right now. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and check out the links down in the description. It's got links to everything that I use in my home studio right now.